from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From big TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your host, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
For many decades, whether it be in Raleigh, Techwood Drive Studios in Atlanta, or all points in between, the magic of Jim Crockett Promotions was thanks to all of the great competitors in the ring and thanks to all of you many fans. From the Charlotte Coliseum to New York City to Los Angeles and all points in between, the majesty of the World's Heavyweight Championship, the sheer perfection of athletic competition, and the grueling nature of personal grudges being settled once and for all have captivated wrestling fans the world over. Those memories live on as immortal legends, myths of a time long gone but never forgotten. Names such as Dusty Rhodes, the Road Warriors, Sergeant Slaughter, Terry Funk, Harley Race, Ricky Steamboat, Sting, Greg Valentine, the Midnight Express, Roddy Piper, and of course, the dreaded Four Horsemen. They all stepped inside the squared circle to battle and prove that they were the all-time best professional wrestlers in the world. Tonight we celebrate the past and pay tribute to all those great moments while making new indelible memories as the Nature Boy Ric Flair walks that aisle for the very last time. For one night, we all step back in time to embrace everything we all loved about Jim Crockett Promotions. And for one moment in time, we all get to be home together again. So, welcome home. And finally, I want to thank all you fans for allowing me to come into your home over these many, many years. It's been an outstanding time, and I appreciate all of you. And I want you to know I love you all. And now it's time to go ringside. And my wrestling announcing partners, David Crockett and Tony Schiavone.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Lee Sanders with you guys for this November 17th, 2025. This is now episode number 1188 of the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. Gonna officially be celebrating our 14th anniversary later this week. I'll give you the details on that one. You know, I had to open up the show by honoring legendary wrestling announcer, commentator, Bob Caudle, who passed away this week at the age of 95. I'll definitely give you guys my thoughts about his passing. Definitely, that is a man that could not be duplicated whatsoever because he was in a respected league of his own. And if you've been checking me out over the years, you know I'm definitely a fan of the old school wrestling. But again, we'll definitely pay proper tribute to him later on during the show. I do want to give a shout out to my friend Conrad Thompson, who had gave me permission to share that video tribute with you all here, as I first saw it through Conrad's social media feed. And off and on, I've hit up Conrad, just a little casual conversation, just a little question here, maybe a little question there or whatnot. And I saw that video and I was reminded, that's right, Bob Caudle did do the opening intro package for Ric Flair's last match pay-per-view event going back 2022. That's right. And it's amazing how everything just kind of came full circle in that moment when you really take a step back and you think about it and everything. And Conrad alluded to the fact earlier tonight that, wow, this was the last wrestling thing that Bob Caudle did for the industry, was that video package that you guys just saw and everything. But I do want to give Conrad Thompson a shout out for allowing me to use that video intro package and everything. I'm going to warn you guys ahead of time. This might be a pretty emotional roller coaster of an episode with some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about here on the show. There's definitely going to be one area particular where y'all might end up needing some Kleenexes. I'm going to let you know that right now. Just ahead of time. I'm letting you know that right now. Hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. We will do our best to liven up the mood in between, of course. I know Raw on Netflix just went off the air. You guys can definitely let me know what you thought about tonight's WWE Raw. Got a poll up over on Twitter at the RCWR Show. Poke your head on over there. Cast your vote. Raw came to us tonight from New York City, Madison Square Garden. Oh, I love New York. True story. I've gone there a lot. I have not been able to go within recent years. However, one of the last times I went, it was actually with the wife. And I think we went sometime around 2000. Oh my God, I'm so bad with the years, man. I wouldn't be surprised if Tam said to me, we actually went in 2017. 2018. It kind of feels like maybe it was somewhere around that time. It could have been much sooner than that. It could have been maybe 2-3 years ago. My memory it's a little spotty here and there. Nothing to be concerned about. It's just a little spotty here and there. But I love going up there to New York. I've gone there many times over the years. So tonight was the scene, Madison Square Garden, the historic Madison Square Garden. I've gone to so many wrestling events, but I have never had the pleasure of going to a WWE event at MSG. And I envy those that were there tonight because John Cena was in the house. Not only was this his final time gracing New York City, not only was this his final time gracing Madison Square Garden, and just all the history that came from that arena, especially for his career over the years. But really let this sink in. This was John Cena's final WWE Raw appearance, maybe at least for now as a in-ring wrestler. Maybe we can kind of look at it that way, but yeah, just a lot going on there when you really take a step back and you think about it. As awesome as it was to see John Cena in the house tonight and how everything got set up for a 6-man tag match to open up Raw, I just couldn't help but just recline in my chair and say, I'm really not feeling how some things have been done with the John Cena send-off within recent weeks. I mean, that's great that they've got the Tom Rinaldi interview, which we're going to see in its entirety. They've been giving us little drips. Obviously, WWE's been taking their cues from what the NBA on NBC's been doing with Mike Tirico interviewing Michael Jordan. We're getting little different snippets each week. Nice little cue. I love that. I love that interview. I love that tease. But I wish that so much more from a productional standpoint was done for John Cena. Tonight would have definitely been the exception because you think about all the memorable moments that has happened for John Cena and his respected career, not just in WWE, but when you go back and look at some of the stuff that's happened for him specifically at MSG that I really wish we could have gotten some type of a video package for. Just off the top of my head, I think about WrestleMania 20, Madison Square Garden, John Cena defeated Big Show for the United States Championship. Or who could forget when John Cena had appeared in the Royal Rumble? Remember that? It was the Royal Rumble. He came in as the 30th entrant and won the whole damn thing. That went down at MSG. That was a really badass moment right there. I'm also thinking about. There was one episode of Monday Night Raw where John Cena, if I'm not mistaken, he teamed up with The Undertaker, and they took on. Oh my God! I think it was a case where they took on DX, and who was the other team? Was it Jericho? Big Show, Jericho? Memory is a little fuzzy on some things again, but yeah, you think about that. Also, the match with Seth Rollins, steel cage match for the U.S. title. I mean, you just go back, there's just loads and loads of MSG moments there. So when I say to you guys, there was enough material for WWE to rely upon, especially since they essentially had a week in between shows and they could have easily made it happen. Just think about this for a second. If they could be so quick to put archive video compilation together for Asuka and celebrating all her years of accomplishments, milestones in the WWE as a way to kind of stick it to Bill Goldberg, which we'll be talking about later. Then they could have easily, if you see, you feel where I'm coming from. So some of you guys may feel I'm doing a little bit of nitpicking, but on the contrary, no, because when you think back to how the Vince McMahon regime was at play. My God, I don't know if this was a case where Vince McMahon was like, we need some type of a video package, work on a video package. I don't know if that's what was going on. I think guys like Jim Ross and Bruce Pritchard would be better in a position to speak upon that and give us fans the 411 and everything. But just when you would least expect in this Triple H Paul Levesque era, oh yeah, we're gonna get a nice little video package. That's gonna, and we just haven't really been getting that. It's just very, very flat on so many levels. But I'm sure for my people in New York that has been to WWE events, specifically at MSG, many, many times, and shout out to our listeners in New York because y'all been faithful to us to the show here many times over the years, especially when I check out the podcast numbers for on demand and downloads. I'm looking at the analytics in New York always represent. So that's why I'm going on and on and on about New York, because I know what's going on with the wrestling fans out there in New York and everything. So yeah, I alluded to the fact that John Cena was involved in a 6-man tag match tonight. If you would have told me it was going to be about 20 minutes before we got our first match, I would have said to you, well, I hope it was a fun and entertaining first 20 minutes. And it was, to see John Cena really, legit, you could tell that this guy was really taken back by the MSG crowd. Okay. And I've been a wrestling fan long enough. I've done this show long enough where I can remember in previous years, New York City, more specifically at MSG, New York did not like them. Oh, whoa, we zoomed in on my face. Hang on. There we go. Is that better? I am so sorry that it zoomed in like that. But anyway, I am still getting used to this webcam. If you've been checking out the show the past, I would say 3 weeks now, I've been playing around with this new webcam. And this webcam is funny as I don't know what. Not in a bad way funny, but just you got to be careful with your hand gestures because it will activate some type of zoom in feature and then it'll activate a tracking feature. So I'm trying to do my best. You guys should see me because I'm so used to it. I've had friends and family tell me this. Lee, you always talk with your hands. I'm like, I guess I'm an animated person. Like, I don't know. And so it's really been challenging for me. You guys have no idea. I have to have my hands now like on my knees, or I gotta be like messing around quietly with a Rubik's Cube just so I can make sure I don't do anything to set the damn webcam off. But You could tell John Cena was legit taken back by the reaction that he got tonight. And I think it's really starting to settle in here that, yeah, it's not that much more to go. Because if you're keeping track at home, as far as the John Cena tour, he's only got at this point two more appearances. And that's basically it, or rather, two more matches, and that's basically it. So we've got War Games, Survivor Series War Games, in about a week and a half. That sounds about right to y'all? About a week and a half. I know it's on November 29th. And then he's got the big send off, the match at Saturday night's main event here in DC on December 13th. And that's all she wrote. So I think it's really, really starting to settle in for him and everything. We saw Dirty Dom interrupt the festivities. He wanted a rematch for the championship. He didn't like how everything had went down. John Cena was like, "Yo, you feeling froggy? Come on with it. We can do this right here, right now, just like what we did last week." Instead, Dirty Dom said, "No, no, 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 no. We're not doing it that way. We did it your way last week. It was in front of your hometown, in front of your people. Nah, we're going to do this on my terms. And it's going to be at Survivor Series, San Diego, California. We're going to do it on my turf." So, John Cena, yeah, I'm down, but that's War Games. We're here tonight. We ain't even got to put no titles up. Let's just do a match right here, right now. This had prompted Judgment Day's JD McDonough and Finn Balor to come out, which is just awesome because, as we've heard in the previous months, John Cena has been wanting to lock it up with JD. He's been eyeing Finn Balor. So to see these two guys come out, and not to mention, John Cena has also said, "Yo, I want to do something with Dominic Mysterio." So to see how all of this has just come about in the past couple of weeks, including tonight, really, really awesome. I had seemed like it was going to be a 3-on-1 beatdown on John Cena when all of a sudden Sheamus, nice rival history there between John Cena and Sheamus. Rey Mysterio coming out there as well. That pretty much set up our six-man tag match with those guys tonight. Fantastic, fun six-man tag match. Nice little opener there for kicking off Raw. Team John Cena picking up the W there. Loved it, loved it. I had nothing but smiles and just ear to ear. I'm just smiling all throughout this match because I was just reminded of so many fond memories, and then it really kind of dawned on me. My God, think about how long we've been watching, us older wrestling fans, with WWE and everything. Think about how long we've been watching the careers of Rey Mysterio. Think about how long we've been watching the career of Sheamus. Think about how long we've been watching the career of John Cena. And it's interesting because when you stop and think about it, it is safe to say that by the time we get to 2030, all these names that I just mentioned, throw in there in the mix as well. The AJ Styles, the CM Punks, the Brock Lesnar's, there's other names, Jericho for sure. But just quietly think about some of those names that I'm throwing out there, and ones that maybe I haven't mentioned. It's definitely a lock on safe bet that by the time we get to 2030, none of these guys are going to be active anymore as in ring competitors. It's I guess when you really stop to think about it, I'm not saying that to make anybody feel depressed. I don't want you all to feel depressed. I'm saying that to let you all know, appreciate the here and the now while you can. A lot of times I see a lot of the conversations that's happening online and in forums where people talk about today's wrestling is just and to that I say, well, hold on, latch on to uh, the bit of good that always puts a smile on your face. It's particularly the stars that always somehow manage to put a smile on your face and enjoy those rides for while you can and everything. But this was a nice, fun way to end John Cena's uh, in-ring Raw career, basically, right? I mean, we still got Sheamus, who's alive and well. He's still involved in the tournament. How much further is he gonna go? And wow, that'd be interesting if we got a really good banger there between him and Cena. But I think somehow when this plays out, I think we possibly are going to be looking at Sheamus and Gunther locking it up. Just kind of put a little bit of a spoiler out there for you guys. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a hot minute. Meanwhile, Paul Heyman appearing, having a brief little conversation with Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce, letting them know, yo, you guys can't be angry with how everything had played out on SmackDown this past week. But if you thought that was something, wait till you see what I got planned for later tonight. To which he gave the guys a folder, kind of a similar folder that he bust out on SmackDown when he introduced that Drew McIntyre. Yeah, Drew McIntyre might be suspended, but that's going to be my guy for men's War Games. Paul Heyman leaves them. They take a look at what's in the folder, and they look like they crapped themselves. And they were like, yeah, this is not going to go very well. From there, Stephanie Vaquer had an interview segment. Fortunately, or unfortunately, is what I really meant to say. But some people may say, no, you were right the first time. Fortunately, I don't know. Anyway, I know some of you guys are like, if she's not in her ring gear, I don't care. Like, hey, she's fine either way in my book. Just saying, man. Just saying. Well, Stephanie Vaquer comes out. She couldn't even get down halfway to the ramp when she was jumped from behind by Nikki Bella. Nikki Bella pretty much thanking her sarcastically, but maybe kind of truthful as well. Basically saying to her, yo, thanks for reminding me who the hell I am. I'm basically a trailblazer. I'm a multi-time women's champion. I was like the face of this women's division. So thank you for waking me up and everything. And Mamacita, I just want to let you know, you will be giving me a shot for that women's championship. All right. And later on, we will find out that match. It is official. It is going to be going down. But she says, yeah, thank you for reminding me who the hell I am. I'm going to take that championship away from you, and you're going to be bowing down. And everybody will remember why I was, basically the shit for the women's division. So she's on cloud nine right now. I don't know what she's drinking. It's some good ass water. I'll tell you what, she's looking good, but I mean, whatever she's spitting out there, I mean, she's kind of in this delusional la la land here, that we got going on. So nice little interesting development there going into Survivor Series where we got that match. Speaking more about the women, we saw the continuation of Alexa Bliss trying to pull a Backstreet Boys song, Tell Me Why, that Charlotte Flair will not join her for War Games. She can't believe it. She's still in whatever. New York crowd, they particularly did not care for this. But you know what? Credit to Alexa Bliss, because every single time that New York crowd was chanting what, Alexa played right into it, and she was very witty, just right there on the spot. Good stuff. She handled herself very, very well versus the Alexa Bliss that I've seen of yesteryear. Just would have been a deer in the headlights, really struggling with that segment and everything. But I'm trying to think what had happened. I believe Lash Legend, Nia Jax, Kabuki Warriors, all of them had came out. Looked as though we were going to get a poor Alexa Bliss taking on an entire faction beat down when she got a little bit of backup that came in there and everything. Matter of fact, let me jump right into my notes so I can kind of jog my memory up to speed a little bit here. Yeah. It came out. Io Sky appeared. Rhea Ripley, she came out as well. Finally, just when it seemed like everything wasn't really going in favor of Team Bliss, Charlotte Flair's music hit. She runs out there, Kendall stick and all, hits Nia, goes at Lash. Fans are loving it. They're cheering Charlotte on. Meanwhile, the Kabuki Warriors, Io Sky, Rhea, they're fighting at ringside. Charlotte helps Alexa up. Rhea and Io enter the ring. Some looks are exchanged, but it doesn't appear that anything is official just yet. Yeah, I mean, it kind of looks right here that okay, so Charlotte, is she on the side now? Is she in? Is she invested or what? What's going on here? Well, I think we might know what's going on here with Charlotte Flair. Because let's go to the next women's segment because it just makes all the sense in the world that we talk about. Of course, I'm talking about the women's Intercontinental Championship match between Becky Lynch and Maxxine Dupri, where we got a new women's Intercontinental Champion. She is Maxxine Dupri. Wow. Wow is all I have to say. Just wow. I have sung her praises, Maxxine Dupri. I have sung her praises within recent weeks. She's really been busting her ass, doing the work, putting in the work. And I've always been a firm believer. And if you show me a person that's making some type of a conscious effort, right? And you can see that effort, then I will show you a person. Okay, I will work with that. Long as you're trying your best and you're making improvements, no matter how small, how slow it's coming, I can work with you. And I tell you, as far as if I were to create an award category, I know I've got my dark horse for men and women's for our Lee Sanders Awards yearly show that we do. But if I were to create an award of like most improved wrestler, I think we have a category too for most improved wrestler, but I'm kind of thinking about like a different name. But I guess for in this case, we can go with just most improved wrestler for 2025. I think for the women's, you definitely got to look at Maxine Dupri and go, yeah, she definitely find me somebody that might be able to give her a serious run for her money, right? Don't worry, when the awards open up, remember how we normally do the awards? It's open ended. I don't give you guys a list. You guys basically tell me, and I just tally everything up. So anybody can win. Like it's like anything goes, basically. Shout out to Becky Lynch too. Like I know that in recent years she's basically been called Becky Hogan, and that don't work for me, sister, and all of that. But let me tell you something. Becky Lynch has been quietly putting in some of her best work, not just in the ring, but definitely on the promos as well. Now, definitely some hiccups here and there in 2025 with some of the opponents that she was dancing with, which we talked about here on the show and everything. But no, sister has really, I'm enjoying this current run, this current carnation of her as the man. I mean, just the little nuances too of Becky Lynch and her character. I love particularly like tonight, for instance, when we had the in-ring introductions that was going on between Maxine Dupri and Becky Lynch. Maxine was being introduced first by Alicia Taylor, and we've got Becky Lynch, who is just right there on the side, talking mad trash to Maxine, just all up in her ear, talking mad trash. And I'm going, now that right there, that's the type of trash. That's what I want to see. Like you don't have to always be chilling in a corner waiting for your opponent to get their introduction. Then you get your, like, sometimes it's good to just be like what Becky Lynch was doing. I loved it. I ate that up big time. I gotta say, this was one of the because this is the third time that we've seen them lock it up. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed the first time that they locked it up on Raw some weeks back. But I think this was dare I say, I think this was a better outing for Maxxine Dupri than the previous two, definitely than the first one. I mean, if I had to rank, I still, let me think. Yeah, if I had to rank them, I would say this one for Maxxine Dupri, number one. Number two would have been the first time that her and Becky Lynch locked it up. And then three, I would put, they just got, you either got the chemistry, that synergy, you either got it or you don't. And I'm glad that everybody involved, including Becky and Maxine, I'm glad they were able to all work together and really tell this story for Maxine. Now, Maxine did not do this all by herself, yo. She did get a little bit of help. Came in the form of AJ Lee. AJ Lee, we hadn't seen her since WrestlePalooza. Okay. So let's set this up for you guys properly. Final moments of this matchup. Becky Lynch ended up tossing Maxine outside. Love the trash talking she was doing with Jessica Carr, by the way. I know Jessica, shout out to Jessica, man. I mean, if there's ever an inspiration for looking at somebody that used to be, and I'm not saying anything callous or cold or mean. I mean, she's talked about this publicly online, and that is the fact that she was overweight. And the fact that she has done such an amazing transformation, for herself and everything, and really staying on top of her game with her health and all that. I don't know how true the reports are that's floating around that she's potentially, going to be a wrestler again, like on a regular basis. I know there was a period in time, and you guys, you'll have to help me and the rest of the community. I think she was wrestling under a mask in recent months. Not down in NXT. I think maybe she was doing some stuff for, was it Evolve or the ID show that they're doing? But I do remember hearing something along those lines. I don't know how much further that's gonna continue and everything, but some interesting seeds planted tonight where if Becky Lynch maybe wanted to circle back in there on Jessica Carr, they could definitely do that. But I love, it was one of those things where for as long as we've been watching Jessica Carr call the action, this was a first where not only was someone being physical with her, but we saw Jessica Carr pretty much giving it right back and verbally standing her ground and all that and having some attitude in the whole process, right? I mean, she had some bite for Becky Lynch and everything. So yeah, Becky tossing Maxine outside, makes her start counting. Becky goes over to unbuckle a turnbuckle. Next thing you know, the music of AJ Lee hits. AJ coming on out there, skip a loo, skip a loo, skip a doo da doo. And Becky is just in utter shock. Maxine comes in with that nice, I call it the Ricky Dragon Steamboat, crossbody kind of pin there. I love it. It's like he's the best at it. He's the best at it. 1, 2, 3, pretty much. New champion crown there. Maxxine Dupri. Nice seeing the crowd loving them some Dupri, putting her over and everything. Now look, as far as her title reign, is it gonna last a long time? Is this kind of one of those things where it's going to be, she's an underdog. How can, I don't think they're going to go the underdog route. I really don't. I think at this point, what we're watching right now is a Cinderella story. And that Cinderella story, I wouldn't be surprised if they start making Maxxine Dupri, yeah, skill, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a lot of luck that's on her side as well. A series of events for why she's able to continue to retain the championship and eventually her luck runs out. Now, who can make her luck run out? Ooh, I'm eyeballing Lash Legend. If you wanted to do something, I'm just saying. Right? If you want to maybe go in that direction, that definitely gets my strong nod. A lot of football players, a lot of comedians, a lot of athletes, a lot of entertainers, a lot of actors This Raw was sold out, by the way. This Raw was sold out. As a matter of fact, I want to try to see if I can find for you guys what the last ticket info was for Raw, because I definitely want to see what was going on there. And since that's MSG, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe just a rough estimate if they were sold out by almost 14,000 in attendance. Let's see what we got going on here. Okay, I was kind of close. Shout out to Russell Tix. They logged in 4 hours ago that available tickets left was 24. The current setup 18,134. Tickets distributed 18,110. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And apparently, hang on. And apparently, the last time that Raw was there was March of this year, and the seating capacity was 18,290. Cheapest ticket available, standard admission, $177. Floor section B and BB added seats. It will be a complete sellout tonight for Cena's final Raw, and they expected the announced attendance to be about 20,000 plus suites factored in. So definitely New York needs to be patting themselves on the back for how everything had played out tonight there at MSG. Let's see. Yeah, AJ Lee, yeah, coming out there and everything. Yeah, that was it. Just skipping. Now, Jackie Redmond would catch up with AJ later on, wanted to know, yo, what's going on? We hadn't seen you since WrestlePalooza. Like, are you going to be sticking around for a while? And AJ goes, well, I just did what I did at WrestlePalooza to help out my husband, CM Punk. And, that's pretty much it. Who knows what the future holds? I can't really tell you right now. But that Becky Lynch, there's something about Becky Lynch, she just gets me going. There's just something inside of me that she just always works up. And on an interesting note, remember what I said earlier where I teased you guys about the women's war games and all that and what's going on, particularly with Charlotte Flair? Well, right when AJ was done with this interview, Rhea Ripley is just right there and says to her, you got a minute? Let's talk. So I have a feeling that Rhea is going to make a sales pitch to her to come join the women's war games. That's what I see happening. Now, I feel that Charlotte is somehow going to get butt hurt in the whole process of this. And if I were to just make a prediction, I kind of feel as though maybe something is going to happen to AJ Lee going into the women's Survivor Series. I kind of feel as though AJ might get attacked in the back, and that's it for her participating in war games. Then it's like, okay, now what? And I can see Charlotte Flair being asked, yo, come on, we need your help. Charlotte helps, but then the question becomes, well, does Charlotte roll out? And if Charlotte does roll out and leave her team hanging, is her actions justified? Just because you abandon your team, it doesn't mean you're a heel. It's just, right? Because she said in that promo from last week, yo, Rhea, I just don't trust you. I already know you don't trust me, right? So, but you can't help but look at that whole thing that I'm proposing and think about, okay, so we're basically going to do who attacked AJ Lee, and your two culprits could be Becky Lynch or it could be Charlotte Flair. I'm curious to see how WWE is going to do this, if they're even going to entertain going in that direction at all. Let's talk about some of these John Cena tournament matches that we had for tonight. So Solo Sikoa had faced a returning. Get ready for it. Get ready for it. Are you ready? Are you ready? The Brooklyn Brawler. Come on, we got to do the Brooklyn Brawler because, after all, you're at MSG. I mean, come on. It's New York, Brooklyn Brawler. Come on. Who doesn't love them, the Brooklyn Brawler? No, I wish I was here to say to you it was the Brooklyn Brawler. No. Instead, it was Doink the Clown. No, me personally, Matt Bourne, Doink the Clown, the absolute best. No, we didn't get Doink the Clown. No, we got the return of Dolph Ziggler. I don't know how you guys want to, that's up to you. I have seen a decent amount of Dolph Ziggler, aka Nick Nemeth's stuff down in TNA Wrestling. I know he ultimately became the TNA World Heavyweight Champion and all that. And yeah, it was a nice little run for what it was worth and all. But once I saw Dolph Ziggler come out, I just automatically said, yeah, Solo's going to win this. And so, let me go find something else to do. I actually ended up downloading the WWE 2K25 Netflix mobile game. It's actually really easy to download it. So I know there's like some confusion going on with the game. Shout out to everybody. I want to make sure you guys get the right information. So here's how it works. If you try to look for WWE 2K25 on your TV, that's not how you're going to be able to access it. You want to access the Netflix app on your phone or on your tablet device. And then when you do that, you can go then in Netflix and type in WWE 2K25, and then you'll see a little thing that lets you know, hey, here it is, for mobile. And then when you click on it, it will force you to download the WWE 2K25 Netflix app, the game app. It's really easy the way they got it set up. Trust me, it's really easy. And the best part about it is you're able to access the game for free thanks to your Netflix account. And it doesn't matter what your subscription is. Even if it's a case where, like, if you're like me and you're able to get Netflix for free. I've had Netflix for free now through my cell phone provider in T-Mobile. I've had Netflix for free now for about 2, if not going on 3 years. And I was able to download the WWE game without any problems. So I will check that game out and I'll be reviewing it in the very near future. I'll give you guys my thoughts on it and all that. But yeah, that Dolph Ziggler, yeah. So Solo Sikoa advances. Meanwhile, in our other John Cena tournament match, Gunther, a returning Gunther, faced the young OG himself in Javon Evans. I was heartbroken to see these two guys go because they're two of my absolute favorites, especially that Javon Evans. That young man is definitely, that is a future household main event star. If we are not talking Javon Evans in the next 5 years, mark this down. By 2030, if this guy hasn't become a world heavyweight champion, we seriously need to be like, what's going on with WWE here? Because I'm expecting this young brother to be like, by that point, a 3-time Intercontinental Champion, a 1-time tag champion. I'm expecting some good things. Nothing but good things for this young man. Nothing but good things for this young man. This was definitely the match of the night. As far as I was concerned. Don't get me wrong. Great what we had with the John Cena tag match. That was very strong of an opener. But and as well as the Maxxine Dupri Becky Lynch match, that was good as well. But things really picked up a notch when it came to Javon Evans and Gunther. By the way, Gunther coming out to his original music that he was pushing down in his NXT days. Yeah. I mean, Gunther's always had some pretty good music, but I like the original music that he was pushing more than the other version that they had him coming out to for the longest time. Gunther winning via submission. Commercial breaks really had hurt this match, I would have to say. But despite that, this was still pretty good. I just really wish the commercials didn't really eat as much into it and all that. So as far as next week goes, Gunther will be facing Carmelo Hayes or Bronson Reed. Remember, we're going to see that match between Reed and Hayes play out on this week's SmackDown. And then Solo Sikoa will be awaiting the winner of Finn Balor or Penta. We'll also see that match play out on SmackDown as well. So, FYI. If you guys been enjoying yourself so far, if you haven't done so already, make sure you giving your man a follow all throughout social media, especially show the YouTube some love. So, final moment of the evening, closing out Monday Night Raw. Nice little shindig, throw it down. We had Paul Heyman come out with the Visions, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre. You're looking at this team and you're like, who the hell is going to stop these guys? Like, seriously. Heyman introduces himself and the rest of the guys. Heyman talks about how he has walked the Samoan SWAT team, the Freebirds, the Dangerous Alliance, to the Bloodline, all at War Games. But this particular War Games team, he feels this is the greatest group of talent that was ever brought together for the War Games. Cue up CM Punk, who left his championship at home. Jimmy and Jey Uso, not that far behind. Cody Rhodes coming out there too. Cody Rhodes left his championship at home. All these guys are brawling with each other. And then that's when the shit really hits the fan as we hear that screeching music of Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar comes out there pretty much cleaning house. But then wait. We then get the music of Tribal Chief, Air Force One, whatever the hell name he's being called now, Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns walking out there. And I love how as Roman is walking out there staring, just eyes locked on Brock Lesnar. I mean, if those eyes were two bullets, it is going through Brock Lesnar's soul. I love how Brock Lesnar is looking on at Roman and like legit, Brock backs up and he has trepidation. He looks like he has fear in his eyes, fear on his face. I loved it. I ate that up. Trying to think what else had happened there. Super punched the hell out of Brock Lesnar, throwing it down and everything. Bronson Reed didn't care. Bronson Reed has beaten Roman Reigns before, so it was nice seeing him beat up on Roman Reigns and everything. Then we had Bronson get speared by Roman over by the barrier. We saw New York police actually come out and try to try to calm the situation down and everything. Yeah, that was good. It was good. It's a good way to close the show. I mean, so look, they made a decent amount of progress here on tonight's Monday Night Raw. I mean, you built up even more in regards to your tournaments. You got a new women's Intercontinental Champion, and at the same time, you're continuing on the little rivalry there between AJ Lee and Becky Lynch. We've got that layer in the women's War Game match. What's going on with Charlotte? But then potentially the ultimate slap in the face there for Charlotte as Rhea probably, on her own accord, reaching out to AJ to see if she'll join the women's War Games team. It'll be interesting to see how that might backfire or whatnot. Brock and Roman return. I mean, this was a star-studded freaking show for an MSG show. I mean, really, I got to tip my hat to, and I will, to WWE. They really put in all the stops here with the star power, the level of star power. for this. They made this be a very significant um, show for all the right reasons. I'm just curious to see what they're going to do for next week, as next week is pretty much going to be that final show, that go home to the ESPN's War Games in San Diego. Let's see what you guys had to say about Monday Night Raw for tonight. If you haven't voted yet, head on over to Twitter at the RCWR Show. Go vote over there. See what you guys are saying here. Right now, I am seeing, wow, 100% of the votes coming in right now. You guys are saying, yo, thumbs up. It was a good show. Shout out to Wrestling Rad, who says, not sure how any actual WWE fan could rate a thumbs down episode. Anyone that does is just a WWE hater. That's a very good point. And you know what? Let me make sure I give him the proper respect, or them the proper respect, and like that posted there, so they know that I did read that. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of good stuff that was definitely here for all the respected right reasons. So it's funny because we were talking about Bob Caldwell earlier, and boy, that just would have been. It's interesting that WWE did not do tribute, some type of tribute, because I mean, you think about all the history, wrestling history at Madison Square Garden, and you think about the fact that Bob Caudle passed, and they didn't do any type, at least a verbal mention. They didn't do nothing. It was really, really, that was weird. I got to tell you, that was really weird. But yeah, legendary announcer. Remember, he was also a news reporter and all that before he dipped into the wrestling. He passed away at the age of 95 this week. And, I definitely want to take a moment to acknowledge him, because his voice definitely helped shape an entire generation of wrestling fans. And if you grew up on Mid-Atlantic Wrestling, Jim Cornette, Jim Crockett Promotions, but I was actually thinking about Jim Cornette, Smoky Mountain Wrestling, or even early NWA programming, then you know exactly about this man that I'm talking about. Bob Caudle wasn't just an announcer. He was a steady, trusted voice that was guiding fans through some of the most iconic moments in the business. And he did it in such a way where he wasn't talking through you, or at you. He was talking with you. He really just had this great candor about him, where, like, every single time you saw this guy, hey, wrestling fans, and it wasn't in a snarky kind of way. It wasn't it was just, hey, you're here, I'm here, welcome, we're gonna have a good time. Yeah, a lot of the problems that I see with some of today's announcers, commentators, they care so much about arm drag, 450 moonsault. They care about all the terminologies, and even Pat McAfee. As much as I love Pat McAfee, even I have said here on this show over the years, look, I can do without Pat McAfee getting up on the announcer's table, and like, we should be helping getting the talent over, and some could make an argument, well, no, to defend Pat, no, he is kind of, but it still kind of feels like a lot of unnecessary theatrics, right? One could look at it that way, and you think about, now, don't get me wrong, you think about some of the best announcing, commentating teams of all time, definitely Jim Ross, Jerry the King Lawler, they are definitely up there. Not for nothing, I even enjoyed some of the stuff that was going on with Jerry Lawler and Michael Cole. I even had enjoyed that, but Bob Caudle had a different style of his own. It was calm, always respectful, straight shooting, energetic, and that made every match, that made every interview segment, just whatever he was doing, he gave it that legitimacy. He gave it that authenticity, right? And you can't force that. You just got to be a natural at that. And every time that guy was on the mic, he was smooth, he was classy, and he was always the professional. He treated every wrestler, whether it was curtain jerkers or the main eventers, he always treated them with the same level of dignity and respect. And that's what really separated him from the pack early on. You know, this was a guy, like when you stop to think about it, this was a guy that sat ringside while the horsemen were just those damn horsemen were going around and causing a ruckus, right? He had some of the best interview segments with Ric Flair in his prime. He gave that same energy, creativity, and all that to guys like Magnum TA, Dusty Rhodes, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Wahoo McDaniels. You know, when he said something, you believed it. It had that kind of weight to it and everything. His voice, when it's all said and done, it was like good Southern comfort food. That's the best way that I can describe how he was a master at his craft and everything. And let's not forget, before he transitioned into wrestling, everything started for him on TV when he was working early in his career as a television news reporter and anchor in North Carolina in the 1950s and 60s. He worked out there for WRAL out in Raleigh, North Carolina. And as I've always told you here on the show, North Carolina always a cherished memory that I'll take with me till the day I die. I got married in North Carolina, and I met so many, nice people, and I can't wait to go back. I've been telling Tams for the past couple of years, we got to go back to North Carolina. And I think now that we're going to be coming up on our 5th anniversary next year, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we're going to be coming up on our 5th anniversary or wedding anniversary next year. I have a feeling that we're definitely going to be heading back out there and everything. But yeah, even way back then, you look at his television news reporter, anchor, weatherman career, he was already laying down the foundation of being trustworthy, noteworthy, way he delivered the news and all that, right? He just transitioned, so well and everything. You look back on what he was doing when he was working with the Jim Crockett promotions in the early 60s, 70s, the NWA Jim Crockett promotions. Some of the stuff that went down as far as matches being called of the biggest era, some of the names that we already touched upon, right? No need to really rehash that. But then Smoky Mountain Wrestling, in the early 1990s, Jim Cornette. And I cannot wait to hear what Jim Cornette has to say about Bob Caudle, because I know he put out a tweet. Matter of fact, I put it down. I actually wrote it down on here. Let me see here. He said, and I quote, "I haven't tweeted about anyone passing in a long time. It just seems trivial for something like this, but Bob Caudle was one of the best men in wrestling, and I want to say that." I can't wait to hear a lot more on what he has to say. Hopefully, we'll get some type of a YouTube clip exclusive and everything. But Jim Cornette had personally asked for Caudle to come and work for Smoky Mountain Wrestling. and he would be there in Smoky Mountain until the promotion was basically no more, right? So, but yeah, in Smoky Mountain, he served as the play-by-play announcer, and Dutch Mantel. I can't wait to hear what Dutch Mantel has to say because Dutch Mantel has gone on record and said, Bob was one of his favorites to work with because he would be saying all kinds of crazy, fun, stupid crap, and he would try to figure out ways to break Bob as well as Jim Cornette, and Bob would just power through and everything. Um, Thinking about Ric Flair's last match, he made a special appearance during Ric Flair's last match event going back to 2022, the video package that we had played at the very top of the show and everything. And I know when I had saw that moment play out, and I can't believe I forgot about it, but I wasn't reminded until I saw the video clip that Conrad shared earlier today. But I remember when I was watching the event, I popped when I saw Bob appear on my TV and everything. So he passed away, looks like last week. So not this weekend, but basically the weekend before. It looks like that's when he passed, as his family had made the announcement through wrestling historian Mike Mooningham, who, as you all know, especially if you're familiar with that name, who has covered the Mid-Atlantic territory, its history for years upon years. A lot of people had touching tributes to say about Bob Caudle. I just want to read to you some of what some people said. I already read to you what Jim Cornette had to say, but Ric Flair wrote, Bob Caudle was a great friend and someone who helped me develop my interview skills. You are a great man, Bob. You will be remembered forever as one of the greatest announcers of all time. I cherish all the time that I got to spend with you. Rest in peace, my dear friend. Jim Ross, who Bob Caudle worked with going back to the NWA days, if I'm not mistaken. Jim Ross said, I'm so sad to hear of Bob Caudle's passing. He was a wonderful man and a great broadcaster. Loved him. NWA owner Billy Corrigan, he wrote, I am deeply saddened to hear about the passing of NWA legend Bob Caudle, whose voice and no nonsense style defined what we continue to seek each day in today's NWA: integrity, conviction, honor. I was blessed to speak to Bob on the phone a few years back and tell him personally how much he means to all of us. May God embrace him and his family in love. And MLW, Major League Wrestling, a true voice of the sport from generations of fans to generations of wrestlers. Bob's warmth, class, and unmistakable call shaped the world we all love. MLW sends our deepest condolences to his family, friends, and everyone he inspired. Thank you, Bob, for the memories, the moments, and the magic on the mic. So yeah, we lost a good one there. And we actually, but look, you hear that he passed away at the age of 95. That is a good long run of a life. But I tell you what, it just, for me, there's no worse feeling in the world than when a loved one passes right around the holidays. That's just the worst. Like any time is bad. It just in general. But man, because I know for many of us, we always go, man, if I could have just had one more Thanksgiving, just one more Christmas, especially with it being so close and all that. So I say all that to say, oh yeah, I say that to say, um, hang on here. Okay, hang in there. Hang in there. Hang on. I say that to say, I'm thinking about that family right now. Um, send them your love, send them your thoughts, send them your prayers, because you know they probably are in emotions right now. And I definitely, speaking of sending thoughts, prayers, and condolences, I definitely want to offer those to. Hang on here. For a bit and chill. Okay. wifey's texting me. I told her, I said, look, I got to get some gas for the car. And I'm parked in a really good spot. I'm not trying to lose the spot because it's cold out here in DC. Let me tell you, it's really, really. How cold is it, Lee? I think we're in the low 30s right now. So I'm not trying to walk. So where I'm parked right now, it only is going to take me less than 30 seconds to get to my car. And I told Tams, I said, look, we got to hold this spot while I go get some gas. And she's like, okay, when I come home from work, just go on ahead and, we'll swap spots real quick so you can get your gas. I'm like, okay, bet. So she was like, hey, I'm here. And the deal was, I thought I was going to be done with the show in time. And she got home a little bit sooner than I anticipated. So it's actually kind of early. But anyway, that's what's going on behind the scenes. But you guys got my undivided attention now. Yeah, we were talking about thoughts, prayers, condolences, and everything. I definitely want to offer thoughts, prayers, and condolences to George Tahinos, who is a legendary wrestling photographer. He passed away due to a sudden cardiac event, as his family had posted on social media. Now, why am I mentioning this guy? This guy at one point was a photographer in WWE, taking many, many awesome pictures for WWE. He also shot for Paul Heyman's Heyman Hustle, Canada Slam Wrestling, did some work even for Fightful magazine, regularly contributed. The family statement that was put out via Facebook, and I quote, "It is with deep sadness that we announce the sudden loss of our dear cousin, George Tahinos, on Sunday, November 9th, as the result of a fatal cardiac incident. George was predeceased by his parents, George and Pauline. He grew up in Wayne, New Jersey, and was a 1980 graduate of Wayne Valley High School. From an early age, George was an avid collector of sports memorabilia and a skilled photographer, which became his life's work with the professional wrestling community. In his spare time, he was an enthusiastic New Jersey Devils fan and a talented amateur bowler. He was a regular at the Hollywood Bowl in Oakland, New Jersey, where he served as treasurer of the league. While in recent years, George had unfortunately become estranged from his immediate family, we know he had many friends and work associates who will mourn his loss. Please join us here in sharing your own memories of George, and please share the information of his passing to others who may not visit this page. Details of a memorial for George, along with a GoFundMe page, will be posted here as soon as arrangements are finalized. And Rob Feinstein of Signed by Superstars and formerly RF Video, he had this to say in regards to the passing of George. Devastating news about my longtime friend, George Tahinos. I'm in absolute shock. I have known him for over 30 years, going back to ECW. I just saw him 2 weeks ago, and he took my pic with Alec Baldwin for me. He would do that for me at all the conventions he was at. I can't imagine going to shows and not seeing him. I am sure he's with Bob right now looking at photos together. George also supplied many of the wrestling magazines around the world with his photographs, including Slam magazine from the UK. George has given us so many pictures over the years to use for our DVD covers. This is a tragic loss to the wrestling community. This and he talked about the last picture, which was of Alec Baldwin that he took of Alec and Rob. It was actually a really good pic that I had saw and everything. So definitely thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family. So definitely, if you want to share your thoughts, condolences, what I'll do, I'll make sure that in the episode description, I include the Facebook link so that if you guys want to go ahead and you want to just offer your condolences and everything, you can do so. And definitely when that GoFundMe goes live, we will definitely share that. I told you guys this is kind of heavy hitting that we're going through right now. I do have something that is going to be very, very heavy that you all, you will cry. You will probably be very sad. You may get a little upset, but it would be easy for me to just talk about it. But I would rather show you than really tell you. So let me set this up properly. Um, Wrestler Rebel, who I love dearly, I think the world of her. She has revealed that she is dealing with some really bad health issues right now. She stated that she has primary pulmonary lymphoma, which is cancer in the lungs. And she's going to be starting rehab. She should have started rehab as of today. And she shared some other stuff that's going on with her. I just, what I'll do is I'm going to play the video. I want you guys to hear her in her own words. And just be prepared, right? If it is too much for anybody to bear, just say a little something in the chat and I will jump back in. Like if it's emotionally becoming too much for you to bear, just let me know in the chat and I will abruptly pause it and jump back in. But it's about 5 minutes, but I just felt, with my respected platform, my outreach and all of that, I know she, obviously she has, but I just wanted to share in her own words. I wanted you guys to see what's going on with her in her own words. So let's go ahead and let's play that.
Hi, I wanted to come on here and give you guys an update on my health. As you know, May of 2024, I was hospitalized for what I thought was cryptococcal pneumonia, which is fungal masses on my lungs. And I went a year long on antifungals. And after a year of antifungals, I was not getting better. And along the way, it wasn't a very smooth sailing journey to where I am right now. And there was infections, ruptures, tumors. So I had to address those as well. And after a year of not getting better, I decided to go to the Mayo Clinic and see if I could get treated by them. And they found that it was not cryptococcal pneumonia this whole time, and that it is primary pulmonary lymphoma, which is cancer in the lungs. And if there is a best case scenario, then I have it. So that's good. But that's what I recently found out, and I wanted to let you guys know. And sorry, I really tried to get all of that out before I press record. So I'm sorry, because I didn't want to, I'm such an ugly crier. I didn't want it. Nobody needs to see that. Anyway, so tomorrow I start rehab because along this tumultuous journey, I have picked up a little disorder called functional neurological disorder, and it has taken my ability to walk. I now walk with a walker, and my ability to speak clearly I don't know if you could tell, but sounds like I bit my tongue. And I've also lost the ability, or some ability, function, I guess I should say, of my right hand. And I kind of have like a claw hand. And so it's hard for me to use my dominant hand. I can't really write and do my makeup, obviously, and little things like that. So I'm starting rehab tomorrow, and I'm very hopeful that I can gain some of that functioning ability with this. It's a very aggressive, intense therapy. It's Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So, like a full-time job. So I'm very hopeful for it. And so that's about it. That's the short story. And I just wanted to let you guys know. Because I've been posting things here and there, but it wasn't clear. And I wanted to be clear with you guys. There's a lot of other stuff that happened. Like, obviously, I fractured my orbital bone. I got a hemorrhaging. Like I said, there's a lot on the way to here, to now. But, so, to address the cancer that I have, the lymphoma, I have a very serious infection right now. So I'm on IV antibiotics. And I have to clear this infection first before I can address the cancer. And once that's finished, hopefully in December, I will go in for a third bronchoscopy to determine what kind of treatment I'll be having. Chemo, radiation, immunology, and then we'll start there, and then we'll kick its ass. Okay, so I'm hoping that will start around the 1st of 2026. So hopefully I'll be keeping you posted on my journey, and thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your... Damn it. Thank you for your...
I had to jump in. I'm sorry about that, guys. It was only like about 8 more seconds, but I had to jump in there because I actually was crying a couple of times there. That's So I want to do more than just offer this woman thoughts and prayers. I don't like, to anybody that is friends with Rebel. I actually tried to do it myself, but she doesn't have her private message setting open. So, can't unfortunately slide into her DMs. But like, to anybody that is friends with her and talk to her regularly, obviously this is going to cost a lot of money, this journey that she's about to embark on. She just told us that Monday through Friday from like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., she's going to be doing this rehab. She just told us about all these antibiotics that she's going to be taking to try to clear up this infection she got before her cancer can even be addressed, right? The orbital issue. There was also something that had happened. She had like this nasty cut on her back. I think they ended up doing some type of surgery around that area. There's been a lot of health issues, some of which we've talked about here on the show when she has publicly shared it, but never has it been to this level of just, wow. And this woman has been hit with just blow after blow. To anybody that talks to her regularly, find out, if she's entertained setting up a GoFundMe, because it's obvious she's going to need a lot of money to get through all this stuff that she's trying to get through right now. Because I'm sure, it's just one of those things where, like, I think fans would feel a lot better knowing Well, no, she doesn't need GoFundMe or a Kickstarter or anything. And kudos to her for not even jumping out there saying, "Hey, I need money." But it's just, it would be nice to know, like, are you good? Are you sure, like, during this journey that you're about to embark on, like, are you good? Do you have like everything at your disposal? Because one thing that I was thinking about as I was watching this clip earlier today, I was thinking, and I was more of an emotional wreck then. Um, now it's just wiping away a tear here, but earlier I was just in that zone, and it definitely hits close to home for me here in the Sanders household because uh, we have a friend of the family that unfortunately, very close friend of the family, who is dealing with prostate cancer, stage 4, and like any day now. Like he's already stopped eating. He's refusing to eat. He's refusing even drinking fluids like water, Gatorade, like nothing. And Tams, as a matter of fact, had spent the weekend going up, spending time with him and his family and everything. Because in her own quiet way, she wanted to say goodbye without actually saying goodbye. And I said to her, "So what do you think?" And she goes, I'd really be shocked if he made it to Thanksgiving, but there's no way, no how he's gonna make it to Christmas." I'm like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah." So the fact that around the holidays and all this is happening, it's just it's a lot. It's a lot, and I know she has some type of a good support system, like a good moral system, rebel I'm talking about. But it would just be nice to know that hey, she's good as far as the money for rehab and treatments and surgery, because those bills, they add up so fast. And I've been learning a lot between sociology and government about our U.S. healthcare system, and it just, don't even get me started on it. But it just sucks the way that we got it set up. Matter of fact, last week I was in my sociology class. It's an upper level sociology class, and we were given the task in our respective groups to take good things that we like that's happening with some of the healthcare systems from other countries and try to use it to create a new healthcare system that would work for all, and tackle, so should it be private, healthcare? Should it be, public? Like, just should you have the choice? Like, what do we do here? And it's just, if I go through the whole weeds, I'm gonna lose some of you guys. But like, it was just interesting going through that whole process and everything. But yeah, definitely. I don't know. I don't know if she is still signed to AEW. I don't think she is. I think she was let go a while back, but it remains kind of unclear because it's never been confirmed publicly whether she's still under AEW, has been released by the company. There's nothing that's concrete out there. So you're kind of under the impression that, maybe she's out, because I bring all that up to say, if she is still somehow under contract to AEW, oof, you would just like to believe that, Tony Khan, maybe in some form, every step of the way up to now, even through now, maybe he's been stepping up and helping her out with the bills and everything. Because we hear how much of a generous heart he has and all that. But can't stress it enough, definitely if you haven't hit up Rebel in a while on her social media feeds, I'm sure she would greatly appreciate the thoughts and the prayer. So definitely hit her up, let her know that you're thinking about her and everything. Now, look, I told you guys it was going to be heavy, it was going to be deep, and it was going to be emotional. Um, I can kind of take it to a little bit more of a lighter note, right? I'm not coming on here doom and gloom. There is a little bit of good news that I can share with you guys, because I know that was kind of kind of deep. That was pretty heavy right there, right? No, we're all in this together. Um, Congratulations are in order for Indy Hartwell. She announced that she has gotten engaged to her partner, somebody that she's been dating for 3 years now, in a relationship now for 3 years. And she took to her Instagram to announce her engagement. So congratulations to Indy Hartwell. Also, congratulations are in order for WWE Hall of Famer Tori Wilson. She announced the birth of her baby via surrogate. So that is awesome. And I want to put some clarifications out there in regards to Bill Goldberg. I saw Bill Goldberg was trending over the weekend for all the wrong reasons. So just to kind of get you guys caught up to speed just a little bit here over the weekend, Goldberg was set for a private signing with K&S WrestleFest, but they claimed he skipped out on his appearance with them, saying, and I quote, "We had all our items laid out to sign as Goldberg was doing another private for another vendor. After he was done, he got up and said he was done. He walked out past our staff and left. We are all super disappointed and frustrated. My apologies to all." Now, I was seeing pictures floating around all weekend. Everybody was having a good time. People were just over and over and over again saying, yo, Bill Goldberg is awesome. He's super chill. He's very laid back, done but fun interactions, all of that, right? So, some vendors were looking at this comment that K&S made, and it was like, what the hell? And the way this morphed into, well, Bill Goldberg just rolled out at an event. He just went deuces, and people were like, F Goldberg. And, and I got to admit, as I was seeing this play out, I'm going, because I've covered enough con events, okay? I know the inner workings, and I'm going, first thing I said to myself when I heard, oh, he rolled out and apparently there's people upset, I'm thinking, okay, well, he most likely, I'm saying to myself, he most likely worked his allotted time, the agreed upon time, for the vendor and signing and all of that. And that's it. It's a hard stop. Like that's it. They can't do any more. And sure enough, that was exactly the case here. Now let me see if I can find the rebuttal here that came in. So they announced, KNSW, they announced that Goldberg skipped out on their event. But then meanwhile, trying to see if I can find it here. Trying to see. Here we go. I got the rebuttal now. So, big event. EXS promoter Tom Unger clarified the situation, writing in response to what K&S WrestleFest said. No, he wasn't. He signed for the fans for 5 hours straight. Ken, K&S WrestleFest, Ken wasn't guaranteed anything. I told him if we had time, we would get your items done. He shouldn't be posting this all over like the victim. This was my deal, and my customers come first. Shouldn't take mail order from all, you not knowing if it was going to get done. That sounds kind of funky. I'm reading it out just as it is. Again, he says, shouldn't take mail order from all, you not knowing if it was going to get done. I mean, you get what he's saying in a nutshell. We don't need to be, a stickler for grammar, right? We know what he's saying, right? this type of stuff, it happens all the time. It happens all the time, more times that I can possibly think of. As a matter of fact, I remember last year, and we talked about it right here on this show. There was a event where Sylvester Stallone had did a meet and greet, and like after a couple of hours, Stallone dipped. And people were pissed. They were like, yo, we paid X amount of money. We didn't get our autograph. We didn't get our photo op. We didn't get our combo. What the hell? And, when it was all said and done, like, this is a Stallone this is his agent. These are the booking people that are working with the vendors to, okay, all right, so are you gonna, cover the hotel expenses? And okay, so look, if you want to get this guy signing stuff, like it's gonna be X amount of hours, and as far as the profits go for the 8x10s he's signing or photograph ops, like okay, we're gonna charge you like this one large something. Like there's like layers and layers and layers and layers to this. So when you hear about a talent that's going after that respected amount of time, when you see that they roll out and you're still in line and you're going, what the hell? Understand, that's not directly that talent's fault. That's not the talent's fault. That's not even the vendor's fault, right? It's not even the vendor's fault, because the vendor even did their part, because the vendor has no choice but to do the hard stop. When the talent, like time's almost up, they got no choice. They can't keep going. So it's not the fault of the vendor. It's that pretty much is responsible for having that person come out there, because then that's when you have other